right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. Yes, I'm a bit excited today, but guys, excelling has nothing to do with age, and it comes with passion, consistency, and hard work. And if you put fame first, I must tell you that you stand a chance to lose everything. Yes, so if you put excellence first as a watchword in whatever you do, you will attain success. And I think that that's what my guest today stands for. And on this note, I think it's important for me to welcome everybody right now. You're on to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I'm your convener, your chief host, and my name is Kike Lomo Atanda-Owo Abati. Yes, I've been getting a lot of messages. People say, when are you going to adopt the last name? I say, you guys, calm down. Individual identity is really important. Anyways, I remain an Abati. All right, guys, I think it's important for us to hear what on this day in history segment as for. Stay with me, and when I return, I'll give my analysis on today in history.
On this day in history, 19th December 1941, by leaking fake intelligence, British forces tricked the Italians into believing that Britain's army is about to invade and retake British Somalia, lost to Italy in 1940 during World War II. Italy believes an invasion is coming, and rather than fight, the Italian army is evacuated to Eritrea, where the real British attack is about to take place.
All right, many thanks for staying with me. On this day in history segment, I think my takeaway from it is the fact that this happened over 82 years ago. You know, the British crafty movement against Italy in Somalia, you know, symbolizes Africans' historical resilience and strategy. And this still happens in modern times where two or more countries will have a divided interest, or how would I put it now? Maybe in another nation, or would also use their own superpower, you know, in terms of positions to wreck or cause havoc in developing countries, or even weaken their economy. I think that's what, you know, the message I could take from on this day in history segment when it comes to the Italy invasion. On this note, I think it's important for us to get a quick message from my sponsors, those that put me on this platform. And when I return, the main conversation will continue. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me, and I want to use this opportunity to welcome you to another inspiring edition of my lunchtime series of interviewing the interviewer. Today's guest is not just a media entrepreneur. He is a force to be reckoned with in the realms of television, in journalism, and of course on social justice. And as the executive producer and host of With Chude, a multimedia series of impactful conversation and investigations, this has brought him to a forefront of meaningful discourse. Guys, in this special episode, which is the 5th installment, if that's the word to use right now, of interviewing the interviewer, I will be opening different layers of my guest right now in terms of the dynamic career. He's one of the few people, I must say, that I respect so much when it comes to media industry, with the male I would have a presence. And I will be having real talk around the milestone that he has had, you know, what has shaped his journey thus far, and of course the impact, you know, is making has earned him with numerous awards. You know, doing a lot of research on my guest today, I was actually very, very impressed, aside the fact that I follow his work keenly. But before I delve further with our guest, guys, let me hold my breath, because I'm a fan of this my guest. Let's have the profile of my guest, and when I return, we will be seeing we'll be unveiling my guest. Stay with me, I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Let me use this opportunity to usher in my guests. Welcome to the show, Chude Jideonwo. I hope I pronounced that surname properly. Many thanks for doing this with me. Chude, I don't know if I should start by telling you that I'm a big fan. I'm obsessed with your work, and
Thank you.
and as a multifaceted media professional, what aspect of your career do you think have brought you the most satisfaction and fulfillment? And the reason why I'm asking you this question is because, from filmmaking or media production or you being a media entrepreneur, which one earns you the most money? Because let's start with fulfillment and money matters. I love money, truly, and I apply myself so much. Anything that will bring money. After that is passion. So you must tell me which one brings you more satisfaction.
That's an interesting question. I've actually never sat down to think of it. But I do think that at the moment, doing interviews brings me the most, joy. I get, just thinking about it, I get very excited when I'm going to speak to somebody new. I mean, the reason why I couldn't be in the studio, sadly, is because I'm presently in Accra. And I'm supposed to come back on Thursday, and then a potential guest reached out to me, and I'm supposed to be on holiday now. Potential guest reached out to me and said they want to come on the show, and I'm like, we're going to cut short this holiday on Thursday because I really, really want to sit down and talk with this person. This is not a big celebrity or anyone, just somebody I think I'm going to really enjoy speaking with. And I do know that anytime I'm coming to the studio and I'm going to interviews, my team members know I'm extremely excited to do it. So I do think at this moment, having conversations with people I really want to talk to, because you're in the business, so you know that sometimes you do interviews that are good to do, or that are nice to do, or that are necessary and important to do. But it's not everybody that you're uniformly excited to talk to. But I really enjoy doing interviews. So at this moment, that's what is giving me the most joy. There's a big film project we did this year. We're not talking about it yet because we've not released any teasers or anything. But when we shot it across about 8 cities. Including the US and the UK and all of that. And when I was doing that, that was the most fun I ever had in my entire career. So it's very possible that in the next few years, if you ask me the same question, it will be filmmaking. But at this time, doing interviews is the most fulfillment, the most joy again.
Fantastic, good to know, and I can relate. And when you say that you are excited with certain guests and all of that, just like I'm excited to be speaking with you right now. Yes, I know that we've met on different occasions or circumstances, but sometimes seeing somebody physically, is another level that you just say, okay, I'm going to be engaging this person one-on-one. And I must tell you that the impact that you've brought to this industry, and I know there are quite a number of people who believe that you should be a certified therapist in Africa, not in Nigeria. In Africa, and all of that. And these are people who are in the corridor of power, who have gotten this kind of feedback, who, when I posted your flyer today, they were like, oh, Chude. I said, no, don't worry, we are all fans together. We are going to be fans in him and all of that. But, let's stay to the topic at hand, because I know that with Chude you are known for, it's targeted, for lack of a better word now, multimedia conversations. And I would like to ask you, how do you select topics? Now, you've spoken about how you're excited, being in the moment with some guests, and I would like to know, how do you select your guests, your topics, to ensure that impactful discussion that you continue to impact the audience doesn't fail?
Well, so, this has been a debate I've been having with my audience and even with my team members internally. Sometimes I put up an interview and I put up an interview and then I will see comments that say, we don't expect you to talk to this person, we don't expect this. This person is beneath your show. This person is beneath the level of your show. And I find that very strange. I grew up, my TV mother is Fumi Yonda, who, as everybody knows, was, had done the most successful breakfast show in this country's recent history, at least after democracy returned. One of the things that Fumi taught me was that every conversation matters, from the mundane to the sublime. You can talking about whether it's Kim Kardashian, whether it's Barack Obama, whether it's Joe Biden, whether it's, Muja in Kano, a TikToker that's about 20-something years old. Every conversation matters. It's not the person that matters. It's the conversation you have with the person that makes it a premium conversation or not. You can have somebody you met on the streets and you sit down with that person and the things that come out of that person can inspire many people. So that's my philosophy of interviewing. And so these 3 years, 3.5 years of doing my show, I don't necessarily select guests. I want to talk to everybody. I want to talk to everybody. Next year we're going around Nigeria. And that's because I'm traveling around the country and I want to sit down and meet this woman who is selling body on the road, and this man who I see with 3 kids, and this Fulani headsman. I just want to talk to everybody. And so we sit down and we are like, okay, there are some must get. These people I really want to talk to this person. What has happened on my show is that sometimes the person you don't expect, once you sit down with the person, you begin to hear the person's story, you are amazed. And I never want to lose the opportunity to be surprised by a story. Having been said, my team members have finally won the battle. So in the coming year, the standard we're now using is like, well, okay, the show has been 3 years, talk to a lot of people. Now I want to talk to people I really want to talk to. I really, really want to talk to. So for 2024, our process is, who is it that I've spent a lot of time deeply interested in talking to? And that's the only criteria, honestly. If I look at that person, I'm like, I really, really, really want to talk to this person. Then I find that person, I talk to the person, and I believe that, when people come on my show, I don't sit down until they're sitting down on the chair. And I think people who know me know that I'm humble. I don't have airs. I'm a respectful person. So I don't do that because I'm trying to be a star. I do that because I want to be surprised by the conversation. I don't want to have the conversation beforehand, and when they come on the screen, I already know what they want to say. I want to enjoy it. I want to hear things that I've never heard before. And that's really my criteria. Who do I really, really, really want to talk to? And once I sit down on the table, then I want to be surprised.
Right there. So let me ask you, because you had Joy Inc., that's Red Media partnership with a colleague, how did the idea for Chude, or with Chude, explains what you're doing right now in terms of the comeback, and how do you approach filmmaking, with a focus on social justice and culture? Because with what you've shared right now, that yes, you have a film, that will be reviewed soon, you're not talking about it, but how can you just balance culture in everything that you do?
Okay, well, this is not, you know that you are literally the only TV interview I've done this year, literally, and
I feel honored. Because I feel that even I had to go through the back door. I had to go through the back door. I said, hey, this man, I must bring him here.
So, I couldn't say just one. And the reason why is because sometimes I worry. I spend a lot of time by myself. I spend a lot of time on retreats, prayer retreats. I spend a lot of time listening to my spirit. And sometimes I worry that when I share with people, I'm not yet in the space where it won't just sound like so now. Because the way I live my life is very different from the way most people live their lives. And that's not a judgment, it's just a different way. I did my life in a different way. And that I did that intro to explain my answer. So I hope that my answer really makes sense to Nigerians and to people in our communities, because that's not what we hear mostly. Now, obviously, when I left as the CEO of Red in 2016, well, I submitted my resignation intention to the board in 2016. I finally left in 2017, but I'd left technically in 2016. It was one of the top 2 PR companies in the country, and still is one of the top PR companies in the country. When I left it, I didn't know what I was going to do next. I had no plan, no idea. I first took a break in the first or second quarter of 2016, and I went to teach at the Pan-Atlantic University with my alma mater. I spent a year or 2 really as a lecturer teaching master's students and undergraduate students. But I didn't know what I wanted to do, but it gave me a lot of joy. I thought that the universe, God was calling me to do something different. I've shared this in public and I'm writing a book about this experience that's coming out 2025. I had a deep depressive episode that lasted about 3 months. I remember that. Remember that 2015 was a huge year for our company. We had done the presidential campaign for dead Muhammadu Buhari, candidate who became president. We were working in the Ghanaian elections. One of our companies was working in the Senegalese elections. We're working in the Liberian elections. We're working in the Sierra Leone elections. And some other countries, I think we worked in the Kenyan elections. I even forget that. And it was that's not the time when a CEO of the company. Remember, Forbes had reached out to do an interview. I'm like, look, I'm tired of doing interviews, My co-founder would do this interview. He led the campaign in Ghana. And that was the time when I was supposed to now enjoy the brand value. And I'm a PR person, so I know about brands and reputation. So I'm supposed to enjoy the brand value of doing all this work. But that was when my spirit said to me that something different is on the corner. And what happened was I went through this depressive episode, and this depressive episode, made me reconsider. I've shared that I had thoughts of suicide at some point. That's not when you expect somebody to be having thoughts of suicide, when your life is going well. But I knew the depression was calling me to something deeper. And so I left. I didn't know what I was going to do next. I just said, you know what? I want to just spend some time and think about what next. What is the purpose? What was like the next phase of my life? I actually thought I was going to leave Nigeria. My plan was to go and do a PhD in America. I'd already applied. I'd already gotten, almost secured the admissions, gotten professors to supervise me in the UK. Actually, a battle between the UK and the US at that time. So I thought I was going to go. Then I had a fellowship at Yale. I thought I was going to go to Yale. And then from there, start my PhD and then, live a quiet life. That was in fact, it's amazing for me to think of how my life has turned because that was the plan. And I spent time in Yale and I began to learn about joy. And I realized, oh my goodness, no, actually, this experience I just went through, it's calling me to share my learnings with other people, especially in Nigeria. I don't need to be in America. America already has Oprah. America already has Ekatol. America already has Yala Van Zandt. America already has all these shows. No. I need to bring this message back to my country. And I fell in love with Nigeria again. And so I came back to Nigeria in December of 2017. And I said, okay, how am I going to share this message? What am I going to do? Anyway, cut long story short, that's what brought me to do the show. It wasn't a business decision. It wasn't a branding decision. Not anything, I just thought, what's the way that I can share how I survived depression, how I learned to have more joy in my life, how I learned to be more fearless, how I learned to conquer the fear of poverty, the fear of missing out, the fear of not being relevant. How do I share what I've learned about how to live a more meaningful life? And what is the best platform to use to do that? That's why I left Red. I know when I left Red, people thought, because people don't leave companies that are successful in Nigeria now, like, what's wrong with you? People thought I fought with Ebola, people thought there was issues. There was nothing of the sort, nothing of this. I think that's why myself and my co-founder relationship is so deep, because he knows that I left at what was then, we've gone higher since then, the height of this company we had both built for 10 years. But, my dear sister, I mean, it's just like you doing this show now. You're a businesswoman, you have multiple spaces in which you play. Sometimes you just want, we only have one life to live. And sometimes you just want to live a life that you will enjoy deeply. And when you're talking to grandchildren at 90, you'll be like, man, I had a blast. I did what I wanted to do. And that's what drove me to start with Chude. I didn't think it was going to succeed. But I just thought this is what God wants me to do at this.
Fantastic. Fantastic insights right there. Many thanks for sharing this elaborate, insights with us. And I think that, like I always tell people, challenges are feedbacks. I don't like to refer to them as problems other than challenges. And I like the fact that you had to sit down to have an overview regarding the challenges you were going through in terms of depression, in terms of fears, even poverty, and how to stay relevant as well, and doing what you are passionate, what God called you for. And now that I'm about to unravel, or will I say untangle you to another, as in to open you to another, what's the word right now? Another side of this conversation in terms of many personalities from a reserved point of view from yours, and you know, you've spoken to quite a number of people extensively, and I must ask you, amongst all your numerous episodes on with Chude, I feel that you should share with us right now 3 personalities, at least 3, that you can say that you interviewed and they are interviewed, you know, resonated with you the most, and how. That's my first question to you. I'm trying to manage time now. And my second question to you is because I mentioned something earlier regarding culture, and I like the fact that you said that, you know, you felt that your place is Nigeria. There's an opera in America. You know, there are other people who are doing pretty well, and you felt that your brilliance, your intelligence should not be taken away from you. There's a point where a line needs to be drawn between professionalism and our culture, which was where I was driving to earlier, because it becomes controversial that you interview someone like, you know, is it Jideonwo? I don't know if I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name, but Jideonwo, you know, a controversial transgender, which somewhat, you know, absurd. I don't know. I'm trying to measure my thoughts right now in terms of the outlook to our culture. You know, what is the moral compass, you know, for interviewing such personalities? I would like to just tap into your, I mean, rub minds with you. What defines who and who not to interview, especially when it comes to our culture in Nigeria?
Yeah, that's an important question. So the payoff of my show is let's be human together. And so sometimes when I see comments on my comment section from my fans, and I love my fans, and I love, you know, my viewers, I love them dearly, and they say you should not be interviewing this person. I'm like, didn't you see the payoff of the show? The payoff is let's be human together. That literally means every human. One of my very first interviews I did, first year of my show, was a commercial sex worker. And I just wanted to understand what it means to be a commercial sex worker. What does it mean? What kind of life do you live? How do you live that life? One of the other ad campaigns, small ad campaigns we run for my show is the no judgment zone. There's a lot of judgment in our culture. There's a lot of judgment in the world. And sometimes, I don't like judgment, but sometimes judgment is necessary. If somebody steals skills, there should be a judge to judge that matter and say this is not good for the fabric of society. But we have to create safe and warm spaces for us to confront how human beings are the way they are. You can go and judge them later, but we need to first understand people. We need to first appreciate people, who they are, why they are the way they are, even if we disagree. We don't do that well in our culture. It's done well in European television, it's done well in South African television, it's done well in American television, obviously. It's not done well on African television, not done well in the rest of Sahara TV. And you know, this is my continent, I pay a lot of attention. And so when somebody says, why interview Jideonwo, I'm like, why not? Jideonwo is a human being. You don't have to agree with Jideonwo to listen to Jideonwo. You know, you don't have to want your, you know, sometimes we say we have to safeguard the morality of a society. I'm like, but morality of society, all the safeguarding we've been doing, what has it done for us as an economy? What has it done for us as a corrupt society? What has it done for us a society where a lot of fathers are raping their children? What has it done for us a society where, you know, 419 and fraud, you know? Not allowing people to tell their stories makes them go into hiding, makes us not be able to understand their phenomena. You know, you cannot generate a society, you cannot build a flourishing society when you have silenced people. You must hear them out. You must listen, you must respect them. That's what I love. You know, Jideonwo, people reached out to Jideonwo for an interview, and Jideonwo said the only interview that she wanted to do was my interview. And that's because Jideonwo knew that on today's set, Chude will respect you. You know, and we need more platforms. Again, like I said, you can go later and say, I don't agree, I disagree. But first, you must listen and understand. That's how your culture evolves.
Thanks again for that elaborate submission. We'll go on a quick break right now to get a word from my sponsors. When I return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me. You do not want to miss the next segment of this show. I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, glad to know you're still with us. In case you just joined the show, this is another series in the installments that I would like to refer to of interviewing the interviewer on Real Talk with Kike. And of course, on this episode, I've been covering about the journalism career of my guest. And of course, we have been having Real Talk about his ongoing role as the executive producer and of course, the host of With Chude, exploring the series of inspiration and its continuous impact on multimedia conversations. And additionally, I am exploring Chude's current involvement with social justice and what else again? I think culture, shedding light on his ongoing advocacy and contribution to cultural discussion despite different perspectives. Yes, and I must say many thanks, Chude, for all that you've shared thus far, for schooling us and educating us regarding us being humane together. And I think it's important for me to quickly open our phone lines. Remember, you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-77400, showing on your screen right now. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, both on Real Talk with Kike and of course on Silverbird platform. Again, I want to say many thanks, Trudy. I'm trying to just, guard my thoughts and my emotions and all of that so that I can actually do this. If not, I'll just be going on personal, discussion regarding most of the interviews that I've seen, even before coming to the studio doing research on you. But I must say, we are all impressed with the good work that you've been doing. I only pray for God's strength as we continue to forge ahead. But let me put that aside. Red Africa, has been involved in communication campaigns for political figures. And earlier you were talking about, it's one of the top 2 PR organizations as at then. Yes, one of the good ones as at today, But how do you navigate, the intersection of media and politics while maintaining objectivity?
Yeah. I mean, that's always an important compass, Now it's easier for me. Now it's easier for me because I've not been involved in politics since 2017. Well, okay, that's not exactly true. In 2019, I worked for a family member of mine on a campaign that she was doing. But that's because that was my family. That wasn't really a political decision. So now it's easier for me to be here. My friends in Abuja are always talking about how I've disappeared, I've run away, So it's easier for me. But that wasn't because I was running away from politics per se. It was just because, again, like I said, I just followed my spirit. So it was very easy. It was very easy to just step away from all of that. I mean, obviously, you can't get this far. I mean, after all the work I've done, I have friends in all the political parties, I've had invitations. So I have relationships in the corridors of power, obviously, that I've developed over years. But because of the way I've done my show over the past few years, everybody seems to have known that the space in which I'm playing has changed. And when we released the Awaiting Trial documentary last year, that was a good test for where we are, how people see the work I'm doing now. Because even though it was harsh about what the current government was doing with regard to NSAS and all.
All right, Chude, can you hear me? Okay, I think we lost our call. Chude, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, fantastic. I thought I lost you for a few seconds. I understand that we have a caller on the line. I didn't want to interrupt your line of thought. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from, please? Tracy from Abuja. Many thanks for calling. What's your contribution on the topic at hand?
Okay, so both of you, I just want to say thank you for because the way times have changed, so has journalism changed. But the sad part is I don't see that change in a lot of TV programs. But I do see it on Real Talk, and I do see it on Chude. And the element that is missing is the inspiration. I'm a motivational speaker, so I just want to say a very big thank you for motivating and inspiring our youth for being a good example that they can look up to. You know, these words that we hear, it helps us shaping our society. Sometimes they pass judgment before they even know the real story. Sometimes there is, you know, something motivational in different people's stories. Same way all our fingers are not equal, same way our stories cannot be the same. So Chude and Real Talk, I just want to say a big thank you for letting our youth know that all fingers are not equal, all stories cannot be equal. And so instead of passing judgment on people, understand where they are coming from and, you know, just take it the way it is with a pinch of salt. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Many thanks, Tracy, for your contribution on the topic at hand, and of course to our guests right now. And Chude, let me come to you because critically looking at our dear country and its, and the issues or challenges that we've faced over the last 365 days, I would like to touch on the challenges. You know, the democracy, that's the word now, democracy-wise, you know, in terms of the political, economically, name it, you know. And for someone like you, I know that you're a man of words, you're a man who do things deliberately, you're a man who actually, actually think before putting your word out there. I believe that you have a perspective to what has happened to Nigeria in the last 365 days. What role do you believe media and journalists have played in advocating for social justice and probably development of our country?
Well, you know, again, it was one of the questions I've not really thought about, but as you were asking it, I just quickly checked into myself because I had to answer. And I just think the media has done well. I mean, you know, we live in a very restrictive society when it comes to expression. We're not the people who say that it's not a democracy, I don't agree with them. It is a democracy. It's just a stifled democracy, you know. But so even with that, you see TV, radio stations. I mean, sometimes I hear some of the things that regulators insist upon, and I'm like, I wonder how TV stations are still able to even report news in an impartial, balanced, objective way. They're constantly having to take risks. I think the media has done a good enough job, you know, considering the restrictive atmosphere, regulatory atmosphere in which we operate, the punitive and political atmosphere in which we operate, and financially restrictive atmosphere in which we engage. As you know, if somebody is trying to get rich, media is really not the place. If you have $1 million and you're trying to get rich, you better go and buy rice. You know, go and be doing rice importation business because, you know, media is not where, I mean, it's not as if you're going to be poor in the media, but comparatively, it's not where you are going if you want extremely high returns. And so, for people to choose this field and to take the risk that they do, I think we've really tried. Of course, you support that with the fact that we have a thriving online media space, you know, with independent media, with active, engaged, and successful independent media. I think that, you know, with the news that people have broken about candidates on both sides, you know, in the past 1 year has been impressive, you know, whether it's People's Gazette, whether it's New York Times, whether it's, you know, David Ndenyi, whether it's whoever it is. We've just had, despite how difficult it has been, the media, you know, has done an excellent job. But nobody can say that they've not heard the other side. Nobody, you know, the other side, all the sides of any debate. And of course, some media platforms obviously have clear bias, you know, but overall, we are not lacking for a multiplicity of perspectives.
And listening to you right now, you know, this thought comes to mind because the youth now have a voice even more audible than that of the government, and that's with the help of social media. We must stay real on this platform, and of course online platform as well. So as a media stakeholder yourself, do you think the voices should be left uncontrolled, or do you feel that it should be controlled? And if the answer is yes, how and by who do you think should be controlling the social media space or the voices?
Well, I am a free speech. I am almost a free speech absolutist. I, for instance, don't believe in classifying certain speech as hate speech, for instance. I don't. I believe in classifying certain actions as hate actions. I believe in, when there is imminent, threats of violence, I believe that it should be outlawed and criminalized. But by and large, I believe that people should speak as much as they can. And it's interesting enough, a few years ago, I was on a panel I was a panel in Muson Center with Kaderia, Ahmed, Betty. Okay, it was at Auntie Betty's book launch or birthday. Kaderia Ahmed, Dr. Ruben Abati, myself, Ojoma Ochai, the British Council. And I said this, and that was under a lot of intense criticism on social media for the work we had done on the Muhammadu Buhari campaign. And there were a lot of lies, social media, they're not lies. But there I was on the panel defending the rights of people to speak, not to lie, but I'd rather default to allowing people lie than reducing the amount of truth in circulation. And that's my philosophical stand on free speech. I believe in less regulation. I believe in hearing what people have to say. I believe in persuasion rather than limits on free speech. So if you ask me, there should be limits. Like everybody always say, nobody should be able to shout fire in a movie theater. And somebody threatens somebody's life, says I'm going to destroy so and so, like some of the things we've heard in the Israel-Hamas war. Unacceptable. There have to be limits, but I believe in expanding. Before you limit, there has to be an extremely urgent reason to limit people's speech. So to summarize, I'm in favor of less and less regulation. I'm in favor of more and more freedom for people to say whatever it is that they think they have to say. And then we can now respond to what they're saying with targeted action.
Fantastic one right there again. Apologies to those who are trying to call in right now. I do not want to interrupt the thoughts of my guest, and I feel that we all need to learn from him. We are here to learn from Chude. All right, I have two questions for you quickly, and this might be my last questions because with what you've just shared right now, I feel that, you could share a pivotal moment in your career that have shaped your advocacy for social issues and cultural conversation. And the reason why I'm asking this is because looking ahead, there would be a global and cross-border project or initiative that you are excited about, and you feel that sometimes all the cultural differences, I like all you've shared thus far, but I've been able to, I have people who have educated me that, Kiki, you like to think like a foreigner and the likes, even though I have foreign blood, but you must understand that we have cultural differences that must guide us in how we do our things. So what's your take on this? This will be my last question to you before we move to the last segment quickly.
So what's my take on what the cultural differences that should define how we engage? Is that the question? Hi, Kike, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, I said, so I want to be sure what the question was. I've lost your audio. Oh my God, I can't hear
me now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I said the cultural conversation that we must take forward, especially with the fact that there's a global and cross-border project and initiative that will be coming from your end in coming years, and putting in consideration our cultural differences.
So I want to distinguish between culture and tradition. Tradition is how we've done things in the past. Culture is culture is what we are doing now and why we're doing it now. Or if I want to be a bit more complex, and I don't want to overthink this, culture is why we do the things we do. I do believe that there are unique and important contributions that Africa's culture contributes to the world. And in fact, I'm starting a blog next year focused on this, called Mind the Gap between Western culture and cultures from here. I believe, for instance, that Western culture is very descriptive. There's a part of our culture that is warm, that is forgiving, that is conciliatory, that is let's sort this out in the family. That is, and those parts of the culture, sometimes we learn how Americans fight, about religion, Americans fight about sexuality, Americans fight about gender, and we try to repeat those fights in our culture. But those things have reduced the quality of life. That's why there's a depression crisis in most of the West. As if you look at the data, people are not talking, they are silencing each other, they're shutting down each other, they are canceling, let's use that word, they are silencing each other. And we can't learn that bad behavior from them. We are warm, we are welcoming, we are forgiving, we are understanding. We are even fundamentally more tolerant than most Western cultures, where they conclude on things and say, nothing else, this is the right way to go, let's do it. And I think that because of our economic issues, we haven't had the confidence to speak with, we focus on the wrong things. We don't wear trousers. Oh, a man should not wear a woman's clothes. That's not the thing. That's our culture. That's not our culture. That's our tradition. Our real culture is that we are welcoming. We are understanding. We don't rush to judgment. We are spiritually deep, and that for me is going to be a unique contribution to the global culture. I think it's too important for us. It's so important that I'm spending the whole year writing blogs weekly about why we must not lose the flavor of our culture. Yeah.
Of course, you're a good writer because, I'm one, so I recognize one when I see it. Well done. And thank you so much for coming on the live show today. It's been an interesting time with you on Real Talk with Kike. But before I let you go, Chude, let's discuss some of the other trending stories that affect you and I, that affect us all. And the first trending that caught my attention is that of the Oba Song of Ogbomoso, that is Gandhi Afolabi Olaoye, that kneels before Pastor Adeboye for blessings. And before I come to you, Chude, let me quickly say this. First off, this is where I like this segment because I'm allowed to give my own opinion or perspective on the issue at hand. And I'd like to first of all give God all the absolute mighty power, praises, name it. Then I will say no, that king like God and none is comparable to him. So the public is speaking from history and cultural perspective, just like what we've been saying earlier today, but to be balanced and comprehensive from all angles on both local and foreign monarchy culture, even Europe and UK, you will hardly find the queen or king bow to any man. However, our culture is diverse and always bound to change over time, depending on what the people accept and what they take as way of life, and that is why it is called culture. I like also earlier, Chude, when you're talking about the difference between tradition and culture. I've taken a cue from that. But the fact remains that he is Pastor Gandhi. He's under the Redeemed Church. It's not everything people say on social media that should be taken seriously. I stand to be corrected. His choices are for him. He has been made the Shon, and he has the power to rule in a way that fits his own person and beliefs. Another man may become a traditional ruler in our country or in the same Shon and not subject himself to traditional superiority, or he won't be criticized for that. And it is paramount that we respect the choices of people. That's one of the things that I feel that I must emphasize on this platform. The people of Ogbomoso and the kingmakers saw him worthy based on his person, his personality, his exposure, his education, his enlightenment. This is what matters, if you ask me. The substance he wants to give his people is also something that we need to concentrate on. And let me balance my conversation before some people will come after me and say, Kike, after all, this man is your father's friend. You've worked with, this man, I work closely with him for years. I cannot be talking about my career growth today and not refer to Pastor Gandhi Olaoye, and now the Oba of Shonwo of Ogbomoso. And what the people should be concerned about right now is the fact that I know for sure that this man, this king, is going to be bringing growth, development. Coming to Ogbomoso is going to be another different ballgame entirely, because I know what it stands for when it comes to value. Now, let me use this opportunity to say congratulations to Kabiesio Afolabi Gandhi Olaoye on his coronation today. Yes, my dad has been sending me pictures. He's there as well, sending me pictures of how, they are handling the staff of office to him. And I'm supposed to be there as well. But hey, my hubby, my daughter, they are a bit ill, they are under the weather, so my dad has gone to actually represent all of us. But I just pray that we all, should try to gather ourselves. After all, he has been somebody, when you look at history, he has impacted his society, even from US. He's my dad's pastor as well in the US for over 2 decades. And also, his late sister, Mrs. Dolapo, who was also, she was the main friend to our family before, Pastor Gandhi came on board. Now, Oba Gandhi Olaoye. So, anyways, let me put a conclusive message to my thoughts right now, is the fact that people should just, read their Bibles or their Quran to understand, the contents of the scripture, because I saw quite a number of messages online that I was disturbed about, even with the way, people just use words anyhow, that when they see the people, they cannot say half of the things that they are writing. So one thing must be absolute and supreme, or what's the word to use now? Supremacy in our lives is key, and it is either we choose God or spiritual paths or traditional cultures. But I'm sure we all know that God is forever loving and omnipotent. I don't want to sound like a religious person right now. It's not every day that I go to church, because sometimes I'm all over the place in Nigeria. But I know that He's omnipresent, and I'm not fighting culture, but I'm only advocating for the respect of the wish and the practice of the king. Again, I wish Pastor Gandhi Olaye a good reign. Chude, let me come to you. You must have an opinion regarding Pastor Gandhi or Oba Gandhi Olaye.
I'm just hearing the news from you, because I've not been online over the past few days. But obviously, Pastor Gandhi I know Pastor Gandhi has been a blessing to so many people for so many decades. But you're right. I think there's nothing to add to what you said, which is, faith is a personal choice, spirituality is a personal choice. I don't assume that he goes around kneeling down for every pastor that he sees. We all have a place that we go to when, we really want to enter into the deepness of life, when life is heavy on us, and those people, we carry them on our head. And even the Oba must have people that he reveres, just as other people revere him. And so when it comes to faith and where we get comfort, I will always give people an allowance to pray, thank, bless the people who have blessed them. And I think that's what he's doing in this case. Pastor Adeboye has blessed so many people. Pastor Adeboye is at this point, Pastor Adeboye is he himself is an Oba. So, I can understand why, as a private act of worship, as a private act of respect, I can see why he did that. That doesn't change. He didn't ask his subjects to do the same thing. This is him. Exactly. He has the right to do that.
Exactly. Many thanks for lending your voice on this trending. And the second trending, if I have time before they start running commentary into my ears, is President Bola Tinubu that hails Ijoma Uchegbu as the new president of, Wolfson College, University of, Cambridge. And I must say that President Bola Tinubu that extends, his heartfelt congratulations to the Professor Ijoma, a Nigerian-born luminary in pharmaceutical, I think science. Yes, English wants to fail me right now. On her election as president of Wolfson College, University of Cambridge, a renowned, groundbreaking work in terms of our practice during the delivery at the University College in London. I did a bit of research on her and how she's been hailed by Tinubu as an excellent ambassador of Nigeria, recognizing an epitome of Nigerian ingenuity in terms of her brilliance and hard work. And President Bola Tinubu, commends our relentless effort in advancing, pharmaceutical science. And of course, the president also assures Nigerians in diaspora, all of his own commitment to fostering an interface or nesting ideas to promote, investment opportunities aligning with his own 4D foreign policy. But guys, President Bola Tinubu, he also said he's looking forward to building stronger bonds, between Nigeria and its diaspora, recognizing and deliberately, giving remarkable messages to individuals with all that they've been doing. But I want to use this opportunity to also commend President Bola Tinubu for acknowledging their achievement. But this recognition, I must say, because I try to keep it real on this platform, marks the initial step towards warmly embracing our diaspora talent. But as we celebrate these successes, because I feel that Nigerians, including our leaders, they jump at anything trendy that is bringing us, you know, glory and all of it. But let's urge our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to go beyond recognition. Yes, I'm saying this. To create an enabling environment, fostering innovation, entrepreneurship, and inclusive policies. Imagine if my guest today didn't have clarity on what is being called for him to stay back in Nigeria. We would have lost a brilliant man today to another country. So can our government actually use this opportunity to understand that this strategic move will undoubtedly entice, you know, skilled individuals like this to return and actively participate in Nigerians' development, propelling them, you know, to return to the nation for greater heights, but not always quick to jump at things when these people have actually poured into themselves and they are now doing pretty well, and now everybody wants to associate with something good and take glory. Just like now, I'm associating myself with Chude. Chude, what's your take on this?
Again, you said it all. I mean, I'm on a self-imposed silence from political matters, but I mean, that's what the president did, what the president is supposed to do, you know, in congratulating her. But you are right. You know, we do need, as a society, to be more deliberate and intentional in terms, we talk about it a lot, the diaspora, but this is one of the countries with the most healthy diaspora on the continent, even in terms of remittances, even in terms of, you know, startups, setting up startups, you know, all of that. Even in terms of, you know, our tourism in December, Accra at the moment, Accra's tourism is driven by foreigners. Nigeria's tourism is driven by Nigerians coming back to Nigeria. No other country would have such a massive internal blessing and let it go, but we do. You can only pray and hope that there are people who are listening and thinking, how are we more intentional with our rich and deep diaspora possibilities? You know, you can only pray.
Thanks. Many thanks, Chude. It's been an interesting episode with you today, and I must say that I'm so honored to have you today. Thank you so much for creating time to be here today. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, and I truly appreciate it. On this note, this is where I draw the curtains of the show. Till I come your way on Thursday on this platform, remember to catch me live on Inspiration FM tomorrow at 5 p.m. your Drive Time Talk Show with Real Talk with Kike. Bye now.